Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully, you're able to hear me okay today. It's nice to see everybody in chat. First off, let me know in chat real quick if you can hear me okay, because I've been having a ton of computer issues, and I want to make sure that I'm coming through 5x5. I am wearing both the headset with the microphone and the desktop mic. There's reasons for that. I know it's ridiculous, but there are reasons. Hey, it's VMXEO in chat. VM, salute to you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Oh, yeah, VM, don't forget. Spirit C1 model. Thank you, buddy. Um, anybody, or anyways, nice to see everybody. Hope you're doing well. It is the week of IAE, so kind of a big week. It's kind of exciting. We're going to talk about specifically just kind of IAE in general today. Take any of your questions, sort of kind of an Ask Me Anything episode. Be a shorter stream, hour and a half or so. Be kind of an Ask Me Anything episode. Obviously, coming up soon, we got a host of episodes to cover IAE. I also may guest on other people's episodes as well, as I usually do. I'm going to go ahead and switch over real quick here. I do have a bit of a schedule. Now, this schedule is subject to change, but on November 18th, at 11 a.m. So tomorrow I'll be doing my IAE pre-show. It'll be sort of what today is, just more general discussion on IAE, speculation, all that kind of stuff. Alternate, it starts on November 20th. So you see that first day there, the RSI Shipyard episode on November 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern. So IAE starts on the 20th of November. Check your times here on the Eastern time zone. It starts at 11 a.m. essentially for us. So make sure you come to watch that first episode, everybody. We're going to be talking about the Perseus, the Salvation. We're going to be looking at them in game. I'm also going to be giving away some extra tickets for the Perseus giveaway, and we're going to be giving away that one-of-one Perseus poster. Okay, which do I have a copy of that handy? It's possible. Maybe. Let me see. Let me see. I thought I was going to have that up and be prepared. Doesn't look like I'm very prepared though. But yep, here you do. I'll be giving away a one-of-one poster for the Perseus, so you'll want to get in on that. It'll have the new artwork in there and stuff like that. So we'll be giving that away on the 20th. Okay, on the 20th. And then I've got shows scheduled throughout the event, and then a big IAE recap on December 2nd. Now, remember, the December 2nd show is important because that's the one where we give an RSI Perseus away, okay? Don't forget, an RSI Perseus, give it away. If you want to enter that, you can scan the QR code and or follow the Gleam.io link, which I'm going to post right here. Free to enter. And here's the important part. Those of you that come to these shows, whether on Twitch or YouTube, you stick around, you watch the show, all that good stuff. I'm tracking those names. I'm using a third-party platform that tracks who's watching and how much. The more you watch and all that kind of good stuff, the more the extra tickets you're going to get, because I am going to be doling out extra tickets to those people that hang out in the chats. Okay, you don't have to chat, you just have to watch the show, so you'll actually get extra tickets on top of the Gleam.io tickets that you've seen in the Gleam link. So there's extra ways to sort of increase your chances. So there you go. So Perseus giveaway, we talked about the schedule. Last but not least, and by the way, everyone, Execute is going to be hanging out with me, talking a little bit about IAE. It's always fun to talk about IAE with other people. I'm going to swing back to the schedule here because I wanted to go over one thing. On this RSI day, this November 20th show, definitely you can get in on those Twitch drops. Those will be active and live on that day. I'm also going to have Dusty Star. He'll be my guest for the episode. So Dusty Star, I see Art is in chat. Dusty Star is going to be my guest for RSI Day. I hope you wills too. Maybe VMXEO can get in there. Maybe we'll have a whole group of people talking about the Perseus and Salvation. Last but not least, everybody, do not forget my coffee link posted in chat right now if you want to help support me with a one-time donation and help me get a GPU replacement. It is greatly appreciated because my computer is having some serious issues. Okay, everybody, I'm going to bring Execute down. We're going to talk IAE. Feel free to ask your questions. Put them in brackets. I'll try to grab them and then put them in chat, and we'll speculate. We'll do some speculating for a little bit. And it's execute. How are you, execute? Can you hear me all right? I can hear you. I'm still not getting... So I had major issues with my computer this morning, and I'm still having major issues with my computer this morning. It's surviving at the moment. Yeah. Well, this is aside from that. I've been just having general problems with my computer for about the last 6 months, and they've sort of come to a head now. So, oops. Oh, wait a minute. No, let's see. They say they can't hear you. I got to plug it in. Okay. Now they should be able to hear you. Try talking now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I think they can hear you.
We'll find out.
VMXEO says you're at the perfect volume level of 0.
Wow.
That's cold.
True, but okay.
So you didn't know VMX? He can be quite cold. So yeah, it's
just not very funny.
Yeah, so obviously it is it's a big week. It is the start of IAE later this week on Thursday, at least Thursday for me in my time zone. It's starting off with a bang, obviously, RSI Day. I know I just watched, for those of you that do not watch Info Runners, I'm sure most of you do, but they just put out a new episode sort of covering sort of the IAE expectations. So make sure you go give that a watch. But the big thing you talked about there, the big obvious thing for IAE, or sorry, the start of IAE is Perseus Day. We kick off with RSI Day, which we're expecting the Salvation, but the big one is the Perseus. That's going to be the star of the show. Obviously this is going to be a ship that gets some attention at the very least, right? I mean, I think we can all agree on that.
Yep. The whole reason I came on today, though, was I found something out last night that I wanted to share with you about the Salvation.
Okay, let's hear it. It's a perfect segue because we're talking about RSI days.
Well, I was talking about to someone from CIG, and they literally said they were all there trying to convince the person that came up with the name that was not the best name. And they tried, and Chris would not let it go.
Well, look.
He came up with it. It's his name. No one else could change his mind, and so that's just what stuck.
But see, here's the cool thing. You know how when people fly the any Constellation series ship, and they will say things like, "Hey, this is CR's favorite ship," now when you're flying the Salvation, you can fly around and truly say that CR came up with the name of this ship, and it's CR approved, right? And hey, when you're the owner or when you're the figurehead of the company, and you are, at the level he is, you can make those decisions whether the community likes it or not. You're good to go. So, yeah, there you go.
I've been thinking the last week about a show that I want to do and get a few people involved and do like a Star Citizen roast at the end of the year.
Yeah,
where we just kind of roast anyone in the community, thick and fast, comedy style. And I'd really love to get someone that can animate, like remember the old Flash animations back in the day, like kids did in high school and stuff like that. And it's just do it in that style, and it's just like people doing lines and stuff. Like just everyone submits little things.
I can tell you right now, I planned that for a long time, and even have some test animations I did. I need to dig them up, but real quick, I saw Trisbone in chat. Tris, nice to see you. I'm going to dive over here. We already got some questions coming in. In today's episode, and Execute, feel free to hang in as long as you want. If you have to bounce out at any time, that's cool too. But today was just going to be sort of a general question, chit-chat IAE show. I'm going to do another one of these tomorrow. I kind of pre-planned these with the anticipation that we were going to get like some more leaks. We really haven't gotten any in the last few days at this point.
I think it's going to be like CitizenCon. I don't think we get anything to. I think we're going to get a patch the day of at CitizenCon.
I think, and here's the thing. Ultimately, I like that. So,
well, I'll be around tomorrow because I'm literally the reason I'm up right now is I'm literally shifting my sleep for CitizenCon. For AIE. Sorry.
Well, so, I was just telling people, by the way, I just shared my schedule, which on the 20th, I'm going to have a kind of a longer 4-hour thing so that people can get their Twitch drops and all that kind of good stuff. But after that, during the middle of CitizenCon, my schedule is going to be kind of all over the place because I will be on vacation, but my wife is letting me do some sort of short streams during that. But obviously, for your really long, detailed deep dives, everybody, make sure you are following the info runners. Obviously, Execute's going to be covering this event like he covers every event, where sort of going over everything daily, and he covers it really well. You know, obviously, there may be an opportunity when you guys are doing a show that I'm able to pop in. If I can, I will,
Absolutely.
because obviously, I love talking ships with
Absolutely.
you. So it's you know, it's that weird thing where, and I've actually voiced this to CIG members, jokingly, that CIG always plans their events right when I'm traveling. Like it could not be the worst timing. So,
Well, they plan it when you're traveling, and they plan it so I can't sleep. So it sucks.
Yeah. So yeah, feel free to hang out as long as you want today. If you want to jump on tomorrow, though, that's fine too. Going to jump into some questions.
Gives me something to do, man, because it's sitting up at 5 a.m. There's not a lot to do.
Yeah. Well, okay, so here we go here. Maybe you can help me out with some of these then. Honey Springs Homestead says, question. Oh, and by the way, everyone, I am really, really close to partner. So if you're watching over on YouTube, stick around over on YouTube, but also go to my Twitch channel if you wouldn't mind. And watching over there as well, because I am like 1 or 2 streams away from qualifying. So I'm right there. And I wasn't even trying to. It's just sort of worked out that way. So if it's not a big deal for you, make sure to do that. Honey Spring says, would you recommend getting a Galaxy that does most of what a Pioneer can do, or simply get a Pioneer? I guess he's talking about base building specifically.
Comes down to crew, doesn't it? How many friends do you have? What other things do you want to do in game? This is a mini Fix My Fleet question.
I know.
That's what that is.
You know what? I need to do another Fix My Fleet with you guys. It's been a long time. The last time you did one with me was when I first started content creating. My fleet is completely changed.
Well, someone asked us during last stream that we should, why haven't we done our own? And we're like, oh, we have. We looked at it a bit like 5 years ago. So we probably need to do one as well.
Well, so I'll add one more thing to that with the Pioneer. The way I look at the Pioneer, though, versus the Galaxy base building thing is the better comparison for the Galaxy is probably the Starlancer build.
Agreed.
The Pioneer is really on a whole other level and comes with a bunch of other, I guess you'd call them add-ons, that the Galaxy and the Starlancer build probably won't come with. And I'm specifically referring to crafting stations, resource extraction through the landing gears, and stuff like that. So when you're comparing the two, you should probably compare it against the Starlancer build.
You're essentially going from a small group ship to literally an org level ship in the Pioneer. One of the things I remember Ben Curtis sharing was he was just totally blown away. He was talking to these guys that were in a small org. There was 11 of them, and every single person in the org had a Pioneer.
A Pioneer, yeah.
It's like this is they need one, not 11. He didn't understand what they'd done.
You know what? You do bring up an interesting point, though. Like it makes you wonder if the ship developers, like John and Ben, if they're actually cued in on how much of a certain ship sells, especially hull limited ships. So, like, do they have any idea like how many are owned? You know what I mean? That'd be really interesting.
I think they would be able to get that information if they needed it. But I think the other thing is, like, it's how things have been marketed. They really need to, tell me this. Pick any ship that's got, like, multi-crew. Other than it just states how many people it's for, they don't really kind of sell it to you as in, like, they don't pitch it to the group.
Yeah.
They pitch it to the one person buying it.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to take on dynamic worlds? Like, it's the movie trailer, you know?
Yeah.
In a world, like they don't go, this is a ship for you and 20 guys.
Right.
You're gonna go, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not pitched in the right way. And I think that's what I'm a little worried about. Like, I think like a lot of people talk about how as a community we have way too many ships, but I always remember that down the line too, there's a lot more people to come in this game, and I think for the last 5 years, I've essentially been saying to people, just get one ship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if you go one big ship, that's fine, but just get one. You know, maybe one big ship, one little one, or just a starter package. That's all, because we all know all you really need is a starter package.
Sure.
And that's becoming more and more true as you can purchase stuff in game now.
Real quick here, I want to, because a lot of questions are coming in. Thank you, everybody. If I miss any, sorry about that. Real quick, a question from a pack of ninjas who just resubscribed with Prime. Thank you very much, ninjas. He says, do you think the Privateer will be released the same time as the Kraken? Personally, no. No, I don't think so.
I think you would agree if we had to look at both of them, the Pioneer would be the priority. Also, the Pioneer started development 12 months earlier.
Or the Privateer, yeah. I mean, well, no. So he's asking, sorry, I may have said that wrong. I may have said that wrong. Sorry, he said that it will the Privateer.
Context is important, Grim. Context is important.
Will the Privateer release the same time as the Kraken? I think no. I don't think we're going to get that sort of NPC driven marketplace shopping for a while. I mean, I think a lot of work will go into the Privateer, but it won't release the same time as the base, is my thinking.
I think internally they'll probably build it, because let's be honest, it's just basically, it's really not that different internally. But it'll be kind of like the marquee mark and stuff like that. That's what you're saying basically anyway, so I'm agreeing with you.
All right, we're gonna pop off a few questions here because I had a ton come in. Drop Yoga says, question, would you ever consider doing a tutorial type stream to teach those who, like me, would learn to so essentially a 3D modeling sort of show? I have done those before, actually, and this is probably as good a time as any to announce it. I am gearing up to do a big modeling show that's going to re-envision the Genesis Starliner. I've been getting a lot of my ducks in a row to do that. It might be after IAE, but I'm working on that, and it will be a little bit tutorial based, but we're going to completely rebuild the Genesis Starliner in what I consider the modern Crusader design language. So,
Simon, a couple to choose from there.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to borrow a little bit from all of them. Simon Dulek says, what chance is the Clipper will be a stealth transport, sort of like the Prowler utility?
Can I ask this one?
Sure, please.
I think you would agree with me, Grim, that most of the time, ships that come in, we see a gameplay coming with them. And I think going into there being no more concepts, we essentially are going to see that more and more. So a new gameplay will come in, and you'll see a couple of ships come out for that. If you look in the files right now, the only kind of things that kind of look like they're there is kind of data running. That doesn't mean it's a data running, but it basically means it's probably that or something that we already have. So I think that kind of rules out. What did he say? He said stealth?
Like a stealth transport ship, sort of like the Prowler utility.
Smuggler, so like a smuggler, stealth smuggler, is what you're saying? Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's. I don't want to say it's likely because I think it's too all over the place. But is it possible? Absolutely possible. It could totally be that. And by the way, everyone, I know we have a lot of questions come in, so if I missed some, sorry about that. I'm going to fire off a few here. Zombie Smoker says, "Do you think the Perseus will have kits?" I think XQ would probably agree. It's a bit of a normally I think we would say yes. I think the big question mark with the Perseus is the ammunition types that it can fire from those main guns. We haven't had any additional clarification on that yet. If the additional ammo types are fired through different bespoke size 8 guns, or is it the same gun? So there's still a little question mark there.
It's ammo. It's bespoke.
It's ammo.
It was bespoke. It was always ammo. I'd be on. To be honest with you, I am kind of. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm fingers crossed that we may get something kind of cool like that.
Yeah.
I think that regarding the ammo, if that does come, then it'll probably carry over to other weapons. And they did talk about releasing other weapon types and bespoke weapons in September. Yeah. So maybe not. But like, again, going with low expectations is what I kept said in the video today. I said, go in with low expectations and then you'll never be disappointed.
That's a great way to do any of these events. And after you've been to a few where you sort of get hopes up on like one specific thing and then CIG changes it, it's better just to go in with no expectations and enjoy being surprised. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Scott R says, are they releasing the Javelin on Aegis Day? We do not know. I would probably say no, but we don't know.
We did speculate on it though.
Yeah. Yeah, we have speculated on it too.
same thing as I just said before. Go in with no expectations, so when they do something, maybe you'll be surprised. So,
yeah. It's one of those things. It's like, if you had asked me this a year ago, I would have said no to a lot of things, or even 2 years ago. But over the past at least 18 months, CIG has made it clear that things they have said in the past in terms of when certain things are releasing is not accurate. In F8C, F8, F7A Mark II, there's been other ships that have followed this line, the Idris, etc. So, Pain and Hate says, question, how's the Org Fleet Viewer coming along? Good.
Put your hands
and
up.
slow.
Put your hands up about a foot apart, and say it's about this far along.
It's about this far along right there.
That's what we do. Like when they go, how long's a piece of string? I go, this is how long the piece of string is. Because like,
all right, here, grabbing some more questions because we do have a lot. Yeah. Goodness, I need that bot going. Space Pumpkin Dave says, has CIG ever considered a Battlestar Galactica style resurrection ship? I would have figured with the invention of regen technology that the military would make a purpose-built regen ship to recover entire battle groups lost in combat. Well, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I think the way CIG looks at that in terms of a mass regen standpoint are more hospital level ships. So think Endeavor, Hope, and stuff like that. But to be totally fair, a lot of the way all that kind of respawn assigning and stuff works, I still think is a little clunky in the future. I do think there needs to be something that is more akin to, if a medical ship is out in an area and you die, it'll come up as your options to not only respawn either on your ship or in your landing zone. You could also respawn on any medical ship that currently has a medical offering beacon out for a cost. And maybe you would take that, maybe you wouldn't, but I think in the future we're going to need something like that, because, you know, otherwise how are you going to make full usage of things like the Hope class and stuff? Again, everyone, thank you for the follows. I do appreciate it. Looks like a lot of you showed up on Twitch, which is great. Appreciate that. And YouTube community kicking ass like always. 206 viewers right now. Appreciate that. Zelcon says, did you see the accidentally leaked PDCs on the Perseus? There are 6 now confirmed, 2 on top, 2 on bottom, and 2 where the turret by the engines were. So I don't know if they were accidentally leaked because they're in the video. The video you can clearly see, so I wouldn't call that a leak, but yes, we did see them. Perseus was guaranteed to get PDCs, in my opinion. I think John Crew made it clear during the Ship Showdown Q&A that military ships of that nature are supposed to get them. That's kind of the point. Thorn1234 says, question, can the Kraken Privateer revert to the base Kraken if you bought the Kraken Privateer? Yes.
Yes. You take it to a shipyard and you can transfer it back. That is one of the advantages of the Privateer. It comes with all the materials essentially to go back to a normal Kraken. The normal Kraken will have to earn the stuff for the Privateer to turn it into the Privateer in game. So essentially you're further along the rep grind if you have a Privateer.
Yeah, it'll be a time and cost, essentially be a gold sink, but yeah, you'll be able to do it. Crimson Hawkmoth says, question, now that the F8C is going up for general sale, do you think it will allow the F7C, F7A route, or do you think it will go the F7C, F7A route where the limited series of F8s will be an F8A? So essentially asking, will there be an F8C that's general sale and then CIG does something to possibly put an F7A in our hands, the military variant? Well, we don't really know, so we would just be speculating, but I think we could both say that they've shown in the past that they're willing to do that with the F7A Mark II, so no reason to think that they possibly couldn't do it with the F8.
We're pretty sure they're selling the F8 because of the skin thing as well.
Yeah.
And there was box found changes to it as well in the
it's very possible we could see the F8A, like the military variant, come in.
Oh, not the F8A, just the normal F8.
Right.
Sorry, I want to confuse.
Dropped Yogurt says, question, would you ever consider doing a tutorial type episode where you teach computer? Oh, okay, answered that one already. Yes. And I have a video on my YouTube. I'll try to relink that one that I kind of go in on that. Jock Cop says, question, do you think we'll get Perseus naming this week? It's a feature that's gone slightly by the wayside. No, and I think it's because they're redoing it. I think they've
I agree.
actually stated that they're redoing it from what I heard. Yeah. I don't know where I heard that, but I did hear that they're working on it, and it's going to be a lot bigger system in the future. And I think it's going to tie into like how orgs are going to be able to like put their logos on ships and stuff. I think it ties into that. So
Can you see, sorry, can you see what I'm doing on Discord?
Stand by. Let me.
With the questions.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see what you're doing now. Yes.
Do that.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
make your life a hell of a lot easier.
Gotcha. Thank you. So yeah, that's our answer to that one. Next question here. Simon Wolf says, what do you think about the new buffs for the Stinger? Enough to make it truly viable and not just pretty. I think, I don't follow the buffs and nerfs as closely as a lot of other people. And part of the reason is because I know it's all temporary. So I don't follow it quite as closely as other people. I think I follow it primarily to see if it's giving us any clues to other ships that may be coming down the pipe because of those buffs or nerfs. Like, for example, when the Redeemer got adjusted, it kind of gave you a sense of where the Paladin was going to land. So beyond that, though, I haven't thought about that one much. Execute, I don't know if you have anything on that one. Have any opinions on the buffs to the Stinger?
The Stinger's a weird one because it is kind of a little bit like an F8 counterpart. And they were meant to be, they've done a light pass on the light fighters. They've done a medium one.
Yeah.
They haven't done the heavy one yet. So I'd have to imagine they're getting some kind of buffs to try to kind of bring them back into the fold. It'd be a bit of a sit and wait, unfortunately, just a little bit longer. For them to drop those in.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Real quick, everyone, I'm juggling a few things. Again, we may miss your question. If we do, I apologize. We do not have the bot running today. I have talked to Piggles. It's really just been a scheduling thing. He hasn't been available when I've been doing some of my streams, but we're working on it. He's very close to being done, he thinks, and then I'll be set up permanently on it. Kitsune, hopefully I said that right. Have you noticed the Perseus seems to have tall windows on either side of the port and starboard airlock? I'm excited that more ships are getting windows, but seems an odd choice. So, yeah, so this is a funny one. I've said this before, that the Polaris was actually supposed to have windows. If you go back to its development journals and the jump point, the windows for the Polaris were kind of a big discussion point for a long time between the developers. It obviously did not get any. So I think it's kind of funny that the Perseus got them. And the Perseus is the one ship that I didn't think would or should get any windows. So there you go.
You actually pointed that out to me, like like as soon as we started looking at the trailer. I said, "Did you notice the windows?" Like, what was the first thing you pointed out to me?
Yeah, and they're kind of unique windows for a ship like this, like big tall ones. So, moving on.
Kind of help with docking. Help with docking though.
Yeah, absolutely.
See why they gave them where they are.
Yeah. Cool Stu 22 says, question: do you think the Liberator will get much bigger? That's a good question.
I think the whole reason it's kind of gone into pre-production is that they're probably going to rework it just a little bit. And also I think there's a variant on the cards. I really think, like, we've talked about it heaps, but like the fact that it does vehicles and ships just doesn't really work either way.
Yeah.
But if they made that, but then also made a variant that just did all ships, I think that would be way better. And things like putting a bit more living quarters and that in it, because it was really designed for back in the day, but when a lot of the smaller ships didn't have the jump drive and they couldn't go through the jump point, it was literally a ferry to get them through jump points. Well, they've decided to go the other way now, and like, and to prove my point, there were ships like the 100i, they didn't have a jump drive, and they went back and like it has it in a really weird spot. It's literally in the nose.
Yeah,
they had to go back and add it into these weird places, and there was several ships, but that's just one I picked.
Yeah, and right on screen here, you can see they explored a lot of really cool options for the Liberator. I still think there's some room for some variants like Execute is saying, and they could do some really interesting stuff. So, I mean, here's the thing.
Well, even there, that's all ships there in the concept you've got. There's no vehicles there at all.
Right. And here's the thing. Remember, they said that it's going into pre-production, which is the same path that a lot of these ships have had to take, the Pioneer, the Kraken, all that, and the Polaris, where they sort of refigure out how the ship fits into the current modern game. So it is very, very possible that when they look at this, they'll have changes to it. It's also possible that those changes affect other large anvil ships, such as the Crucible and stuff. So,
well, a couple of the military guys said that they reckon it's going to change to a FOB, which is a forward operating base. So so you essentially kind of, it's like a mini Kraken essentially, which is kind of what it is anyway.
Yeah.
But just not as good as a Kraken. But yeah,
I still love these designs more than I love the Liberator that they landed on. The designs on screen. So.
Well, it almost looks the bottom one almost looks like a hovercraft.
It does,
from the 80s.
Yeah. Like a G.I. Joe hovercraft or something.
Yeah.
Andrew Johnson says, question, can we get the Heartseeker Mark II added to Fleet Viewer? Yes, it's on my list of things to fix. The reason it's not on there is because it's not a SKU anymore. It's a paint and kit. It's not an actual ship SKU anymore, and that's how we do Fleet Viewer. But we're working on a fix. We're going to do a fix for that. Robert Voss says, are you going to listen to Talking Shop during your stream? So I'm glad you brought this up. This is something I wanted to ask you about, XQ. What do you think about this new Teaches Talking Shop thing? What do you think this is? What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know what to make of it because it's mainly audio. And if they're not doing the IAE show, then that kind of drops off. And if it's just audio, then isn't it just a cheaper version of Jax McCleary without the cinematics? It kind of tells me that they're working on other things. So they've just gone to audio. My
only question was maybe it still has video because there are, podcasts can be video-based podcasts. Although I feel like by now they would have come out and clarified that. So
the fact that it's on Spotify tells me that it's not going to have video, but
yeah. Rage 1 just gave out 5 community subs. Rage 1, thank you very much. Salute to you, buddy. Always a big StarJump supporter. I appreciate you very, very much. Everyone give Rage an 07. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though. I watch video podcasts on Spotify. There's a couple I watch. So Spotify does support it, but I do agree with you that it's an odd path for them on the like I don't totally get it. I will say that if not only do we not get a silhouette video this year from CitizenCon, but then they don't show us any new visuals or developers talking and we only get audio, it's going to feel like a second punch to the gut for us ship lovers. So I would be pretty disappointed.
Hey, more fuel for this roast. We can't do ship speculations, so we're just going to roast the shit out of you. That's the new plan.
Yeah. So everybody, what they're talking about is CIG's released this information here on the Talking Shop podcast with 2 hosts who I don't know who they are, and it's sort of an in-lore, in-themed sort of ship discussion show. There'll be 3 episodes, one on the 20th, obviously, for RSI, which we will discuss on that show. Episode 2 will be for Drake, which I'm sure they'll be talking about the Clipper a lot, and then episode 3 will be on Grey Cat and everything in between.
The irony there is they're all the ships that we know about. So it almost tells me like there isn't anything coming on Aegis Day. Unless they shadow drop something like in episode 4.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing.
It's telling me it's a replacement for the AIE show. They've just done it in auto format because then they don't have to film anything. They don't have to have any staff taken off stuff. They can just kind of cruise through working on what they got to work through to get Squadron 42 out the door next year.
And here's the thing.
They're in crunch.
They are. And here's the thing. And I am sympathetic to that. I will say though that like I would be okay with a lowering of production standards because I will say that CIG's production standards on their content is always great. We've seen the new showroom and stuff, but I would take lower production standards for them to just fit in some more content this year, even if it's a little bit more like off the cuff. I mean, how many times have we seen where literally just a developer pops in someone's live stream and gives out crucial information? Not everything has to be, all bells and whistles, but getting the information is pretty important. And maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll do that on this talk, but yeah.
That's kind of what I said when I heard it. I said, well, again, low budget presentation, but that's all you need to get information out.
Yeah. By the way,
So, yeah.
Cam Wright on YouTube says, Grim, I'm trying to get back into ship modeling, but I'm struggling with my motivation. So daunting. Any advice? Just find something you truly want to model and start there, because you have to want to do it. It's because it is kind of a pain in the ass. This is what, so I know Trist is watching. See, Trist, I tip my hat to him. He is putting a ton of work into modeling the Ironclad. He modeled the Clipper and all that. And it is so difficult to put in all that time and effort to model ships that will be out very, very soon. And then you'll have the model for it. So I hats off to him. This is why I'm modeling the Genesis Starliner. I'm modeling this ship because I know it's not coming out for like 8 years. So I feel comfortable wasting the time. But so for those modelers out there that do that hard work like Trist, salute to you. Matter of fact, make sure you go check out Trist Pone's video on the Clipper. It's pretty cool.
We have to keep suddenly plugging his Hull B concept video.
Yeah.
So he does it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. He did tell me the other day that he was remotivated, which is good. Question
Well,
from,
I think he got. I think he got that. I'm hoping he got that a little bit from being on captain's table, because that was a part of my aim. Because he seemed very disappointed with the silhouette video, as you and I were as well.
Yeah.
But you got to have more stuff to keep you going. You can't just be on one.
Do ultimately do stuff you want to do. That Trist, my biggest advice to anyone who's wanting to do stuff like this, just do stuff you enjoy and that you like doing, and leave it at that. Crimson Hawkmoth says, now that the F8C is going in general sale, do you think it'll... Okay, we answered that one already. Jack Cop says, will engineering have people move their fleets down from capitals to large and mediums? I'll be honest with you. I mean, there can't be too many people that purchase Krakens or Idrises that didn't understand and know of engineering being a thing, and that they were going to have to consider that. Like, I haven't talked to too many players who are like, yeah, I just bought an Idris. Oh, wait, what about engineering? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they seem somewhat
there will
knowledgeable
be some
on it.
Those people,
there will be some.
Those people that have more money than sense.
Yeah, absolutely. There are those people for sure. I do think generally, though, the people that sort of like one-off buy a capital ship, like where they buy their one big capital ship, like the Orion or the Idris or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's enough discussion and stuff out there when you're buying ships at that level that you understand that there's going to be a crew requirement. So I think you'll see some downsizing, but not a lot. What I think you're actually going to see more of is people just divesting a little bit, like some people we know, mutually know, execute. You're going to see some people go down from like fleets of 150 ships down to a fleet of 40 ships because they just want to consolidate their gameplay, you know.
And don't think Grim is joking. We've seen this with many people. There are some people that have brought insane number of ships. But I agree. And again, there's not a lot of let's take the Orion you talked about. You said the Orion and the Arastra, for example. The minimum crew for the Orion is 5.
Right.
And the maximum is for the Arastra is 6. So there is crossover there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think once engineering gets in and people have more time to take it in and see what it's doing, you could literally, on a lot of those crew, you're only going to need one person that does it, right? And I think some people are it's really going to be their jam.
Yeah.
I've already seen some people when the tests were going on 12 months ago. I remember this org leader coming to me and he was a bit distraught, but he's like, my main combat guy has decided he wants to be the main engineering guy.
Yeah.
Like he's just completely flipped. And he didn't know what he was going to do, but it was pretty funny at the time.
By the way, Pack and Ninjas, thank you for that posture check. I just want to call out everybody really quick. We have 140 over on Twitch, which is amazing, and 252 on YouTube. Thank you for all hanging out today. I know it's kind of a weird time, Monday midday stream, but I do appreciate that. If you have not gotten in on that Perseus giveaway, please make sure you do that. You can scan that QR code or follow this Gleam link. Don't forget, on December 2nd, which is the day before the final day, I will give that ship away live on stream. For those of you that are sticking around watching the shows, you don't have to participate in chat, but those of you that are sticking around either on YouTube and Twitch and watching the shows, I am tabulating that on a third-party website that does that tracking, and you will get extra entry tickets to the Perseus beyond just what you get in the Gleam link. So I do appreciate you all hanging out. We got a ton of questions. Where's that bot when I need it? All right, here we go. We're gonna keep chugging along here. We're gonna fire off a few. Max Wiss says, I have one question. Will the normal ship upgrades be available for all ships in the finality, non-warbond and non-capital / limited ships? That's a execute question.
They didn't do it in Invictus.
Okay.
As in, oh no, the upgrades are available. They didn't do any warbond CCs. No,
Okay.
Sorry if I made you panic. Yes, all the upgrades will be available at the end, but there won't be any. There most likely won't be any warbond CCs because that's what they did in Invictus.
Real quick to
I'm
clip.
hoping they change that.
And Quantanito, does it tracking? Yes, it just tracks if you're in chat. If you're in chat, you get an extra, like if you're just hanging out watching a show, you'll get an extra ticket. And those of you that stay for, the way I'm doing it, and this will answer your question, Pain and Hate, is I'm doing it kind of simple. Essentially, if you watch 50% of the stream, you get an extra ticket. If you watch the 100% of the stream, you get 2 tickets. And if you just show up at all, you get a 3rd ticket. So there's a way to get a few extra tickets, essentially. So it's pretty rounded off nicely. If you are on both YouTube and Twitch, it just counts you as once. So it's just it counts you as one, one thing, even with a different username. It's because it's I believe it does it IP based. I guess you could fool the system if you want to get an extra ticket in. So feel free to manipulate. I don't know what else to tell you. But that's a good. I'll look into it a little bit more. But yeah, there's you definitely can get extra tickets. So just hang out, watch, have a good time. Michael Treon says, since you have the models down, would you be open to making a target silhouette recognition quiz? I love that. That's a cool idea. I may have to do that. We may have to do a game show episode soon.
team up with a guy from Startle.
Yes, we should do an episode like that though, where we bring on someone and someone who supposedly knows their shit, and we show silhouettes and see if they can guess the shit.
Oh, like Pete does with the Pokemon.
Yes,
with the Pissball Pete.
Yeah,
you should get Pissball Pete to help out with that then. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Which ship is this?
Filaterios, hopefully I said that right. 2 questions. Should we expect any news about the battlecruiser during IAE? And were you drinking ketchup from the bottle on the last captain's table? That's a question for you.
No, that wasn't for me. No. I wasn't drinking ketchup.
Well, then let's ask you this one. Do we think we're going to get battlecruiser news?
I was drinking barbecue sauce.
Barbecue.
Thank you very much.
Big difference there.
Well, I'm the only one that uses this bottle, right? So I don't have any problem drinking it. I don't have a family. I don't have kids. And it's just easier than putting the sauce on every individual chip. It's a pain in the ass. So I just put it in my mouth, drink a little bit out of it.
Yeah.
So,
hey, Chief Tygon.
Very
nice
rude, but I'm the only one that does it, so it's fine.
Battlecruiser, I don't know. Maybe. I still think it's probably more appropriate for Invictus, but it's possible. I think here's the thing about the battlecruiser. And this will always be the case during these big ship sales like Invictus and IAE, but they've already got a big kind of military expensive ship that they're keeping the focus on for this event. I don't know if they're wanting to distract everybody with battlecruiser talk. I don't know what you think, Execute, but I think we won't hear anything battlecruiser.
Okay, put it this way. If they bring out another Aegis kind of capital in that size range, I think there'll be riots.
Yeah,
they've already got the Idris. They've already got the Javelin. Everyone's been asking for an Anvil one for literally a decade at this point. I think like it's fan service. I just don't see them doing an Aegis. I'm sorry, I don't. I also think that when Disco literally talked about the battlecruiser, if you go back and watch him in the IRC, he was trying to give the example of say for example, we did a concept sale, it would be something bigger like a battlecruiser. I don't think he was literally saying we're gonna concept a battlecruiser. I think he was giving an example of if they were to do another concept, it would be something that's an outlier, right? And I think people misinterpreted that as to be the battlecruiser's getting a concept.
Although there was a discussion from John Crew and Ben Curtis on the same episode talking about the battlecruiser concept being worked on internally, but that still doesn't mean it will come out as a concept. They could release it as a flight ready ship for all we know, 10 years from now, for long. So we just don't know.
And they have they have broken promises before, but if you think about everyone that brought a Javelin, right, they would be the target demographic for a ship like this, right? We're talking about the Javelins are currently $3,000.
Yeah.
A battle cruiser would be close to $5,000, and the original promise for the Javelin was this is the biggest ship you'll ever be able to buy.
Right. Right.
Now, yes, they could break that promise, but again, if you've got a $3,000 ship and now they want you to buy a $5,000 ship, it's not like you can just buy an upgrade from a Javelin to whatever this battle cruiser is. They don't sell upgrades at ships at that end. So they're essentially taken $3,000 of your money, lied to you, and now they're asking for another $5,000. I don't think that's going to go too well. I think there will be some people that will just be a bit pissed.
Yeah.
And they'll not, and I'm sure there'll be other people that'll happily cough up $5,000, right? But it just, to piss off the people, there's also the target demographic. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how it'll go. The only other way we've talked about this, and you were there when we talked about it, was if they sold it as a blueprint and then it was only, say, something like $2,000. So essentially skips all the grind, but you still got to collect all the stuff to build yourself. And that is actually how the Javelin was originally. It came as just the hull, and you were going to have to basically go find all the bits for it, and then they changed it all to be actually a functional ship.
Right. And we've seen a lot of that sort of ethos change, I think. Not that this was the reason for that, but we've seen with SitCon last year that there is an effort for these big monster ships to be something we work for through the crafting gameplay loop as well. So continuing on though with our questions, Nomadic Max says, question, with the Kraken and Ironclad in the works and the release of the Clipper and Ox, what are a couple of Drake ships you'd like to see come next? Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I think let's put aside what the Clipper is or is not. But I mean, and I don't want to speak for you, Execute, but I think the Drake ship we're missing. Oh no, see, I was going to say a bounty hunting ship, but we have the Cutlass Blue. What are we missing from Drake actually? Well, no, here's what I will say. Here's what we are missing from Drake, and I said it recently. We are missing other, like a heavy fighter, like other fighter classes beyond the Buccaneer.
So the medium and the heavy we're missing.
We're missing
the other one, because I asked John Crow about this when we talked to him. But
hey, see, Daddy,
kept saying the Ironclad's a Corvette, but technically speaking, it's not a Corvette.
Yeah.
A Corvette is Polaris size, which is a size above, which is S5. So we are actually missing an S5 Drake ship. We don't have an S5.
That's true. C Daddy CIG's in chat, by the way. C Daddy, you're hearing Execute. He's on. We're talking IAE.
Yeah. Don't trust C Daddy, man. He just always
he only tells
misleading you. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Trust him as far as I can throw him. Right. No. Odyssey, Polaris, something in that size range, but from Drake would be interesting.
Yep. I agree.
I'm going to be honest. It's going to sound so weird, but I really want it to be combat based though, because they don't have any, like the Kraken is semi, but I'd say it's more support, and the Ironclad is very cargo based. So if it's not combat, then I'd want it to be something. What about a large refinery?
Well,
or a large fuel transporter or something.
So I was going to say, I love that when Drake leans into the industrial stuff personally. So I would love to see that.
Like this. Well, we know the Starfarer is a thing, right? Where it collects gas and stuff. Remember I talked about that ship called the Nebula, and I called it the Nebula because it farms nebulas. So maybe that could be a Drake ship where it goes out and, like the Starfarer, where it collects gas from the gas giants, but this collects them from nebulas.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And by the way, everyone, really do appreciate the support. Had a few people donate, and I do appreciate it. I am working to get a new GPU, though. I need a production GPU, though, so I'm going to be getting a 5090 for 3D stuff and everything. So do appreciate everyone who's chipped in for that. Really generous. It's really generous of you. Thank you very much. I have a coffee link, though, that you can do that. So, again, thank you. Awesome community. Again, very awesome. Appreciate it. Continuing on, because we have a crap ton of questions, my God. One other thing I'll say about that missing Drake ship, though, and me and Execute talked about this recently. There is also a pretty big gap in the Drake cargo line I think the Corsair is sitting at 72 SCU, and the Caterpillar is the next one at 576. So there's a big cargo gap in the Drake line that could easily be filled by something. Yeah.
I don't think every manufacturer has
They don't.
capacity at every spot, and I'd also think eventually that you want to leave for kind of like double ups that they come back and fill. But you are right, there is a gap between I think it's like around 700 to 1500.
Yeah.
So we really do need one around that 1,000 mark.
I'm going to tell you what has to happen. What technically should be is I feel like the Caterpillar should kind of technically be redesigned a little bit so that you can have the Caterpillar we have and then a slightly smaller Caterpillar that fill out the gap better, where the slightly smaller one factors in around 250, 300, kind of that whole B size. And then there is the bigger Caterpillar, which gets redesigned. I think it could easily hold somewhere in the 600, 700 SCU range. I think you'd have a really nice stack up then all the way up to Ironclad. So, yeah. Taylor Ratliff.
Again,
yeah.
Maybe there's room for another ship in there.
Yeah, maybe so. Taylor Ratliff says, I have another question. What are the odds of the Ironclad coming as a surprise at IAE since CIG said the command module was doing very well? 0%. Current command module work is underway, yes, but it's not finished. And even when that feature is done, then the ship teams get it and can work on it 100%. Here's the thing. I've heard a bunch of people say this. Yes, the Ironclad pictures did look good from the PU monthly report, but all you were seeing was Drake kit pieces sort of pushed together. I don't think it was as far along visually as we think. As a matter of fact, CIG's even alluded to this when they were talking about the Ironclad in the past. Not in the most recent monthly report, but CIG did say that it was in white box, but that its version of white box looked much more finished than normal because of the usage of the kit. So, be careful on those images. Yeah,
I think your thing that you said too about the them coming back at DefenseCon with a bang or something like that. Would they say in regards to that? There was a wordage they used.
Yeah, and I'll just point this out. C Daddy in chat says Ironclad is still very much in white box right now. Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, just so everyone knows,
that means it's coming out. That means it's coming out, guys. Because don't believe anything it says. No, just kidding.
The whole point of those kits is so that CIG can put these ships together faster, but also so they can visualize the internal flow of them better and account for things that previously they couldn't account for when they were literally just extruding like rectangles for walls. So what you're going to see though is white box imagery that looks pretty good. Another ship that was kind of like this was the Pioneer, and not even to that full degree, but when CIG showed us the Pioneer at last year's CitizenCon, it was still looked white box. It looked simple, but you could tell it still had some like base textures on it. They had some lighting throughout of it. Like it's much different than like white box from like 8 years ago. So, yeah.
And any of those ships that kind of really hit a mark or not hit a nerve, but like they go well in the sales, like that, you can tell the way people talk about them, right? That there's expectations of certain ships, right? And I guarantee you the Ironclad, it might not be as hotly anticipated as the Perseus, because that Perseus sold a shit ton. But I know the way that the people talked about that Ironclad, there were a lot of people looking forward to that. And I know you're a big Drake guy, and there's a bunch of other people like that really want to see that, because it's going to set the stage for the Kraken.
And I
want to see the Ironclad too for the same reason.
And I think the Ironclad, as we get closer to it, is going to ramp up in popularity because of the flexible nature of the ship. So
I know a lot of people that have the Assault too. They really want to see the fabrication stuff and etc.
I had originally bought the dual pack. Now I since melted it and just have the base now, but my initial gut was like, I'm buying both, you know what I mean? So now I've stopped buying packs in general now because I like the flexibility of melting one-offs, but
Oh, he finally learned.
You
It
converted
only
me.
took a decade.
Crimson Hawk
Yep.
says, now that the... no, we already
Well,
answered this one. We already answered that one.
I was just going to say,
Yep.
if you are unsure, by the way, pick up a CCU during
Exactly.
IAE and
Yeah.
just sit on it. And then if it comes out and it's like, oh shit, I really should have the assault. Well, there you go. You got one.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, someone just asked in chat how they can get in on the giveaway. That was Ancient YouTuber. Ancient YouTuber, you just go to the Gleam link or scan the QR code you see on screen. That will get you in. Really appreciate that. Okay, get back to some questions. Socially Confused says, question, do you think we can remove the bespoke cannons? I remove guns from my ships.
No, they're bespoke.
Yeah. Well, and it seems to be that that's what CIG means when they're referring to bespoke, is that unremovable, right? Not just unique to that particular ship, but unremovable. Now that could change, but you know.
Funny little story the other day. Someone that doesn't speak English actually had to ask me what bespoke meant. They didn't know what it meant because they did. So I had to explain.
Yeah.
Unique. I went through all these
unique
words
to
until
that.
they found one. Yeah.
Yeah. So AMD 300 says, AMD 300 says, question, will the Perseus be sold in a pack like the Polaris did last year? And Grim is a legend. Well, AMD 300, you're a wise person. And very handsome. I can tell you are handsome through chat.
You are Delulu.
You are a very handsome person. I appreciate that compliment. Thank you very much. Do we think the Polaris or the Perseus will be sold? First off, was the Polaris sold in a pack? I don't even remember that.
It'll be in one of the RSI packs or something like that.
Oh yeah. It'll be added to the RSI pack. And then they did sell a Polaris Scorpius pack, right? Maybe
can't remember, but I know there was a Perseus pack with 2 arrows. I remember that when that was sold.
By the way, everyone,
DMXO said something interesting in chat. If you want to read that,
did I miss it? What he says? The L21 got an update to let you remove its bespoke guns.
That feeds into the L22 alpha.
That's kind of a big piece of news right there.
Well, they did talk about making it so towards the end of the year, bespoke guns would have other bespoke guns that you could put on it. So that feeds into the wolf theory we're talking about, where it's literally the same ship, just a different gun loader.
I hope that's where they're going with that. I really do. Only because I think it opens up some exciting things for other ships. You know what I mean?
You won't nail because I had the same thought pattern, but I didn't actually voice it. But was when we were on the captain's table and Paul literally goes, the Alpha Strike, and he talked about it coming in and taking the shields off with the repeaters, and then literally the wolf coming in and using the ballistics. And I was like, that's exactly what it is, because they used to do shit like that back in the day. Yeah. And I'd already thought about it, and then I dismissed it. Yeah. And then he said it, and I went, okay, if someone else is thinking the same thing, genuinely onto something. So when he said it, I was just like, yep, that's
well. Again, the giveaway going on right now is the Perseus giveaway, and make sure you get in on that via this Clean link. Real quick, everyone, I just want to point out, go into my show schedule on the on RSI day, that first day, we're gonna have a couple giveaways. Obviously, the Perseus giveaway will be going on. We're going to have an RSI Salvation giveaway, and I'm also going to be doing a giveaway for this 1-of-1 Perseus poster. We are going to update the art that you see on screen right now to be whatever the flight-ready Perseus model is, but I did one of these for the Polaris, so I wanted to do one for the Perseus. We'll give one of these away. It's a big 24 by 36 glossy poster, so yeah, more giveaways coming.
Is it signed by Grim?
It's not signed by me because it comes straight from the printer, but I'm sure I could work something out. So,
Grim's big rubber stamp of approval.
Here we go. Let me mark that question off here.
I was going to say something about the talk show thing, the talk and shop. Yeah, I just realized there's no recording on Kruger Day, so that does.
It gives a little bit more credence to it being I don't want to call it a kit, but a kit.
But also the IAE show, they're only talking about the new shit, and they don't see that as new. They see it as a variant. So it could also mean something like a variant is coming on Age of State. We'll see. Yeah. I don't want to jinx it. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It gives a bit of hope.
Yeah. By the way, everyone, huge turnout today, so I really appreciate it. I know people are excited for IAE. 174 over on Twitch with no raids, which is awesome, and 274 over on YouTube. So thank you for hanging out. I got Execute on the line here. We're going through general questions today. Here we go. Meathead Malicious says, question, do you think we'll see the Raylan randomly popping up? As a hollow model, we will.
Yeah, there's a hollow mod on the floor.
Yeah.
It only just started production, so I wouldn't even expect it to kind of really have an updated model either.
I will say too that I am predicting, like, and there's lots of ships sometimes that generate buzz for various reasons. Sometimes it's because it's a really big, massive capital ship, or sometimes it's because it's a new ship by a manufacturer like the Wolf. I do suspect the Raylan will kind of be one of the next big ships to have like a big like excitement buzz around it. It's an alien ship, but it's a cargo alien ship, which is kind of interesting. When we primarily get combat alien ships, it's large, it's got really interesting transformations. To me, it's going to be a ship that generates some buzz.
A real proper spacious interior from the Cyan too. We haven't really, like, the Sulians was a little cramped. But yeah, I think the other thing I'd say is when we talk about upgrades, or CCUs, I'm moving to calling them upgrades because that's what they've changed them to. But the speculation CCUs, when you look at those 4 ships they talked about going up in price, so the Hull A, the Hull B, the Raelian, and the Raft. The Raft is probably being the biggest ship. Also, most likely one's going to increase the most in price because they talked about the cargo going way up. So even if you are not specifically interested in it yourself, it would be worth picking up like a $5 CCU or upgrade and just sitting on it, because it's probably going to go up a lot in value. And then if you want to go like do a CCU chain or an upgrade chain down the road, you've got that as an option. And unfortunately, you can't just put it in your buyback. You have to sit on it. But it is one I'd recommend. Like, I'm probably going to pick up 3 of them as an example, and it'll cost me like $15. And I can just sit on it, and it might bear a lot of fruit, because the Hull C went up $150, and I'm not saying it's going to do that, but I'm like, when they said the cargo went way up, me and I have talked about it a little bit, but we're expecting at least $100.
I think you're right. I'm expecting a bit, so much so that, and I don't often do this, but so much so that I literally, the day they announced that, I went to my buybacks to see if I still had it in buybacks, and I do. But now we have a lot.
I've already got 2 for it, but for other things,
Cool. We have a ton of questions, so we're going to see if we can rapid fire a few of these. So let's see how we do.
Have you got a hot date that you've got to go to? Is that what this is?
Apparently, I have to work, which is not fun. Let's see. Tikitsy says, do you think the Polaris or the Perseus pilot will have control over the remote turrets a la the Paladin, or just keep the torps only like the concept?
Torps.
Yeah, I'm thinking torps. I think
Polaris. Think of the Polaris.
Yeah,
it's similar to that.
I agree. If they give you remote turret control, it's going to be a nice extra, but I think it's going to be torps.
I think eventually you'll be able to do it with the MFD system, but defaultly, you won't be able to. So,
a pack of 12 Ninja says, what are your thoughts on the upcoming weapon range changes? Do you think ships like the Ares Inferno will truly shine? Hammerhead and the Hammerhead truly feared by all light fighters? So I don't want to get to specific ships because I haven't looked at it closely enough, but I did watch Avenger 1's video, and I will say that I'm not a combat expert. Based off what he was saying and some other people I've talked to, it seems like a very positive change that is at least heading in the right direction. So I'm going to ignorantly lean on other community members' expertise in this and say it sounds like a good thing.
Ares specifically is designed to punch up. It's meant to be weak to fighters, so I don't think it'll ever be a thing. But yeah, specifically to the one that he was talking about.
To be clear, though, I do think the Hammerhead needs to have things done to it to make it the ship it's supposed to be.
Agreed.
Yep. It's also too expensive not to be effective. Kishkin says, question, do you think the 1.0 org space station will be considered a shipyard to switch out things? I think if you get the dry dock module added, it will be. You have to have that dry dock module added. Karsek says, question, will the Perseus get a small med bay since it has seen many changes? No, I don't think so. I agree with
It,
Execute.
it is such a tiny ship. It is designed to be. It's also very like the old version. It was very armored, ballistics and stuff like that. You can clearly look at it as it's meant to be a defensive ship.
Yeah.
Again, with the bespoke ballistic ammo.
Yeah.
Anything ballistic is really because you're running on a limited amount of stuff. You want to kind of stay close to home so you can rearm and refuel, or someone's going to come all the way out to you, right?
Yeah.
And that nature of it allows it just to drop people off and
Right.
heal. It does not need medbay.
Andrea Minna says, do you think the Liberator will get bigger? We kind of asked that. It says get bigger or be getting PDCs. I think it will get PDCs. In terms of it getting bigger or not, I guess it'll come down to CIG deciding on what ships they want it to support. It's an Anvil ship, so I think primarily they want it to support the Hornet series. It's possible they could want it to support ships. Well, wait a minute. Is the Hurricane the same?
Yeah. I was about to say, that's not entirely true. You got the Hurricane,
That's true.
the F8. You've got the Hawk. There's a whole bunch of Anvil ships there.
And that's my question. That's sort of my question. Is it designed to be to sort of fit around the Hornet, or is it designed to be fit around all ages, small and medium ships? I think that's the question.
That's the beauty of metrics, right? Yeah. So basically, it's got 2 S2s and an S1, and then the 2 vehicle pads, right? That's basically what it is. But I think any manufacturer, even in our own world now, it's generally when they try to make stuff that's bespoke for their own shit, it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
Right? They unless they're like way out in front of everyone else, they can't do. Like Apple's one of the only ones that can do it, and even Apple are starting to have to bend now, because it's just not working anymore. Like they had Thunderport for years, right? And the Lightning port. Now they're going back to USB-C, and they've essentially given Thunderbolt over to be the next version of USB and stuff like that, because it just doesn't work. As soon as things like the economic downturn, nobody wanted to buy their shit anymore because it was too expensive.
Yeah.
So you've got to allow. It's what I'm trying to get at is they've got to allow Aegis ships, and they've got to allow other ships to get on the pad.
I think if they did want the C Daddy CIG says Liberator concept included, he thinks, 2 PDCs. Yeah, I think it did too. I mean, I sort of always thought that's what this gun right here was a PDC, but we'll see.
Yeah.
As you can see, the Liberator wouldn't have to get much bigger to accommodate the F8. It would have to scale up a little bit, obviously.
Sorry, doesn't the wings fold in on the
30%.
F8 though as well, and then that means they're folded out?
Yes, they're folded out. I do think they fold in. I'd have to ask VMXEO again though.
And also the Hornet. Oh, how dare we ask him when he's in chat? The Hornet has also got the wings folded out too. So my point being is they're bigger than they actually appear to be when they land.
Yeah. Okay. So, but there you go. Continuing on. Got a lot of questions. Here we go. Do we know if CIG made any internal changes to the Perseus, increasing the cargo grid size, added medbay? Sort of just answered that. I don't think it's gotten any like medbay thing. It could have got a cargo increase though. It's possible.
The only rumor you and I have heard is that it might have grown in length from, what was it, 100 to 125?
Yeah, we've heard a little bit of 125. It's weird. Some of the images I see, I know people have said they've done all these measurements. Some of the images I've seen, I've done my own measurements, and I don't know. It looks like it's maybe 105. I've seen other measurements where I've done, or it kind of looks like 120. I'm still up in the air on how big it's gotten. So, yeah. I mean, personally, I hope it kind of stays small and compact. To me, that was kind of one of the cool things about the ship. So I personally hope it hasn't turned into some big 135 meter long monstrosity. You know what I mean?
Well, it won't be longer than that, because that'll make it bigger than the pad size. So at 125, it's still smaller than the Carrack, and the Carrack is 126. So the Carrack is literally the biggest ship you can fit into that hangar. It literally has 1 meter either side of it, and then so if it is now gone to almost the maximum size, that's okay, because even at 100 it would still be on the same pad. It's just it would have been nicer to be a bit more compact.
Honey Spring says, for the Perseus, it was originally listed as having automated turrets. What is your opinion if we truly get that for the remote turrets, and if CIG will sneak in AI remote turret blades?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I do too. I do know CIG stated somewhere that at some point soon they were going to start working on those AI remote turret blades. I do hope that comes sooner rather than later, specifically just for my Scorpius. I'd love to be able to fly my Scorpius with a computer blade controlling the remote turret. I don't know if that's coming. Could it be a surprise? Sure, it could be a surprise. Next question here. Major Angry says, do we think that they will sell an upgrade kit for the Idris P to give it a railgun like the Idris M? No, I think that's what makes the main thing that makes the Idris M special, in my opinion. The armor.
You'll be able to get in game.
Yeah,
you'll be able to get game progression. Like if you look at what they essentially are, is they've sold progression.
Yeah.
So you get like a P, and then over time you get all the pieces, and you can work your way up all the way up to an M.
Yeah.
Including the armor. Yeah.
And real quick, everybody, I'm going to hold off on any new questions. I want to see if I can plow through these ones we got here. Manny says, with the F8 being limited to 1 per account, do you and Execute think concierge rewards, which currently can grant 2 F8s, will be changed to 1 F8 and getting replaced with something else?
Potentially, but they'd rotate the ship over, and if they did that, then they wouldn't just let you keep an F8 and the new one. You'd have to kind of pick between the two.
I do hope that gets revised. I mean, look, the concierge thing, I do hope gets revised at some point, much like the referral system got revised.
They've had 3 people that have worked on the concierge system, and they all left because they couldn't get any help to do what they wanted to do.
To be totally honest, we could probably do an entire episode though on the concierge system. So, but yes, I do hope it gets updated. Sudasek says, hopefully I said that right. It says, question, I have an Avenger Titan as my day-to-day from like day 1. But today I think I think it gets power crept by other ships. Also getting cargo crates out is horrible. So what should be a good alternative for a day-to-day ship for 1 person over the Avenger Titan?
That's tough because the Titan does the combat and cargo kind of combo.
Yeah.
And you kind of go up to a Nomad and it goes all cargo-y. You go to a I think the Cutlass would probably be the next highest.
Yeah.
And that's almost double the price. Like it's like $110.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
I can't think of it. Yeah,
it's a tough one.
I own a Spirit, right? But the Spirit can't fight. It's kind of more of a runner. But so if you want a fighter, I think it would have to be the Cutlass.
I think the Cutlass, that's where I would go to. Hudson Hawk says, question, Mr. Graham, how do you envision a sustainable in-game economy once Star Citizen moves beyond wipes? Personally, I believe capital ships like the Orion should cost billions, while something like a Cutlass Black should be priced in the tens of millions. High prices seem necessary to prevent inflation and keep the economy meaningful.
Yep.
He says
everything's going way up. Times, respawn timers, they're all going way up.
He said, I asked another streamer and he disagreed. He thinks ships should be cheaper so regular players can access more vehicles. What's your opinion? I would probably say a little bit of both. And I know it's like a little bit of a cheap answer, but here's my meaning. I think the big ships, like those true in-game ships, the Orions, the Bengals, the battle cruisers, the Idris, all those should be super expensive and require someone to work and make the effort to get there over time. However, on the flip side, I think some ships in that starter class and maybe even the advanced starter class should come down in price, specifically because you want people to start off in the game, much like the new referral system is, where they're able to check off a few wins really quickly, and that gets you motivated, and then you get to longer and longer gaps. It's sort of like when you play World of Warcraft, you can get through your first 10 levels of World of Warcraft in like an hour or like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? It's a quick reward thing. So a little bit of both, I would say.
And not to mention, if you get stuck somewhere, you want to be able to pick one up so you can just get back to where you want to go.
Right. Hummus
Convenience.
Says, question, I'm not expecting the Arastra anytime soon, but do you think it'll release before its onboard refineries work the same way the Reclaimer was in game before salvage? No, I don't think I think refining is going to be in game when the Arastra launches.
Yeah, I think refining is not that far away, to be honest with you.
I agree. Cal Doom, thanks for the resubscribe. Yeah, I agree with you, Execute. I think refinery gameplay is like coming soon-ish. So, TM.
Yeah, not far behind base building.
Yeah. Devouration says, question, text saying a few ships are increasing in price does not say immediately after IAE. To me, that suggests there might not be any Raylan, etc. news per IAE. Yeah, essentially just saying that the price increase announcements doesn't mean we're going to hear anything. That's totally factual. They may not pull back the curtain on any of those ships. The only thing I would say is that there was a holo table for the Raylan that looks that's kind of oddly unique. I don't think any of the other manufacturers got hollow tables, right? Or am I wrong?
There were no other hollow tables.
Right. So that could mean that they want to at least talk a little bit about the railing. And here's the thing. If the railing is going to jump in price significantly, this is a good event to sort of say why. Doesn't mean they are, but it's a good opportunity for CIG to say, hey, next month we're going to raise the price of the railing by $120, but here's the reason why, because it's increasing in its capabilities substantially.
Let me play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Then why is there nothing for the whole B?
Maybe the whole B, though, isn't increasing to that. Maybe the whole B or something is just a smaller price raise, but I'm wondering if the railing is a much more significant raise.
But it also got reconcepted recently.
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, these are all good points. Those are all good points. It's possible that maybe they have a whole B, behind the ships coming soon or something too. We don't know.
True. True.
Dillman said, I'm going to skip the question. Killswitch says, do you think the T8C Gladiator is getting an updated flight model / gold standard since it's getting its first paint job?
T8C.
T8C. I think he's thinking of the military Gladiator, right? There's that other variant.
I don't know what a T8C is. I'm sitting here going, what the hell is that? All right, I'll have to go look at T8C.
I'm not sure. It's a good question, Killswitch. Meathead Militia says, go ahead.
The fact that they put paints on it though, basically meant that it's most likely had a gold pass on it because they said they couldn't do paints on it. So.
Oh, Crimson Hawk says T8A is the military variant. T8C is the Gladiator players have. Okay, gotcha. So Meathead Militia says, how much money is he spending at IAE? A lot. I'm going to say a lot.
You are or
Meathead Militia.
Oh, is he rich? Is he?
I don't know. I'm just going to say a lot. Seems like
I'm going to be honest. Like, there's only two ships that I think I'll even be coming close to buying, and it'll probably be a Clipper and a Salvation. I buy a lot of the starter ships because it's really good to show off to people. And when I say show off, I mean I onboard a lot of people. Like people come to me and go, "Oh, what's a ship that I like?" And I literally have every starter ship. Like I've brought them all.
Yeah.
Just so I can go here, try this one, here, try this one, here, try this one, here, try this one.
Yeah.
And probably the point that I probably like, I don't think I'll pick up a Golem Ox because I've already got the Golem.
Yeah.
But the Clipper, I think I have to pick one up just because of how much you and I talked about it.
It's just got too much backstory now on it.
Yeah. And if I don't keep it, I don't keep it. I'll upgrade it to something else. But again, I might just upgrade something else to it. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Moving forward, Dillman says, do you think they will stream the Talking Shop show like other ships? I don't know. Hopefully. I think we all hope. Crimson Hawk Moss says, what are your thoughts on the Drake Clipper's dimensions and supposed price point? Well, we've talked a lot about that. I mean, I think we're thinking it's kind of a medium large ship is sort of where I'm thinking. It's probably more of a medium ship, but its wingspan and configuration make it feel like a small large ship, if that makes sense. I don't know price point.
Well, it's the same as the Corsair though. The Corsair makes it feel bigger than it actually is.
Price point, I don't know. I'm going to take a guess and say 150 to 180. I don't know.
Oh, whoa!
I'm going a little high, I think, probably. But
look, Cutlass Black is 110. The Cutlass Blue is 155. There's my ballpark right there. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest. If it is a cargo ship or a CL, right? So let's just say, for example, it is a cargo ship. That would also explain why the whole A, the whole B, the Raft are all kind of go up in price, because that's coming in and the Ox is coming in to kind of make room for where they need to sit.
Sure. Question here from Shimpasta says, does the info runners still recommend getting a capital ship with real life money and then buy the rest in game, so essentially earning down, or would it be better to get a medium-sized ship and buy the rest in game?
If you're just going to get one ship, get the big ship and struggle through, because it'll literally allow you to purchase almost anything underneath much quicker. Right? That's the whole thing. But again, if you can get a medium ship and get a capital ship, then do that. right?
Yeah.
It's just how much you can afford. So the whole premise and the whole idea is, if I want to get the most I can possibly get for the lowest amount of money possible, is get one big ship. And then even then, right, you can like, oh, I can't afford an Orion at 650 currently, but I can afford a Reclaimer at $400. Well, then get the Reclaimer.
Right.
Right. It's that type of analogy. Just get what the biggest thing you can kind of afford. But it's up to you.
Yep.
Like these are only suggestions to make your money go further. It's not literally telling you what to do. It's only ever suggestions. And we have a lot of people fight on this. We have a lot of people fighting us on at the moment about engineering. And one of the videos Algrid wants to do is he literally wants to go into the tech preview and literally salvage and reclaim with just the tools. And he knows it's going to work because he's been doing a lot of solo salvage and reclaimer, and I know it's going to work too. What
people in chat don't realize is that I am going to start hosting a show called Info Runners After Hours, where when Execute and Algrid are deep asleep, I will be doing an off-hours Info Runner show. Just kidding.
Okay. That's right, because I'm gonna do an after-hours STARJUMP show.
Hey, it can happen.
With blackjackers and hookers and VMXCOs.
It could happen. It could happen. Mithras wants this question: if people were making their fleets smaller due to engineering, what would they do with the money sitting in the CIG account? Well, I still don't think. Here's the thing: I think this it is happening to some degree, but I don't think it's like this big wave. And maybe I'm biased, but I think people have understood engineering. Yeah, I think people are panicking.
Yeah.
I always go back to this Invictus episode of the Talking Ship show that, now this is going back like 4 years ago or something, and I'll never forget when John Cruz said this, and I do want to find this soundbite. He did say that large capital ships were not intended to be easy solo endeavors, but there was a mention that if you wanted to take your big capital ship out solo, you could do it. It would just be highly inefficient. And I think that is the path CIG is going to take. I really, really do. That's what I meant by struggle, by the way. Yeah, this
highly inefficient.
This whole idea. Here's the thing. Well, let me say this. I want to play devil's advocate. If a lot of people are downsizing their ship because of the engineering uplift, I guarantee you, like if it was big enough that it made a dent in the financials, CIG will change the uplift on engineering before they allow that to happen. Because they don't want people to stop buying big ships. They would adjust things. But what I ultimately think, though, is that wave isn't quite as big as we think. I think a lot of people actually did understand that ships are multi-crew. And I think a lot of people gravitate to Star Citizen because of the multi-crew dream. I still hear that from a lot of people.
Agreed. It was the whole reason I came into it.
Yeah.
I wanted the teamwork that made the dream work.
Yeah.
Look, what you're saying too is I think a lot of people that are jumping the gun, that like I remember when this came around about 12, like, you know, when the first engineering test came out, and a lot of people, you know, a lot of the other tubers were doing the negative click things, and the sky is falling and all that. And I'm going to be honest, now I've seen the test, it's no different to what I thought it was going to be. It's the same thing they talked about in the design briefs years ago. It's just all coming to fruition. And I just, how do I put this? Downsizing your fleet, you're thinking about it the wrong way. It's the whole thing about the earn down economy that we've talked about before. If you can go out and struggle in a capital ship, the amount of money you will make in struggling through that one ship, and let's say, for example, let's get that Orion versus the Arastra string. If you've got enough people to man an Arastra, you can take those same amount of people, and you're only going to be 3 or 4 people, not even 3 or 4 people short. Like, what's this? 4 people. Yeah. So you're half. You're half. You can fill half an Orion, because Orion is 5 to 8, and I believe an Arastra is 4 to 6 from memory, right? So if you've got 4 on Orion, you can less struggle, but it's still struggling on an Orion. But think about how much extra money you're going to make on the Orion. It's 6 times the size.
Yeah.
So you make that money so quickly. And if all 4 of you putting in back in to buy an Arastra, so the point is you buy the Arastra, the Orion, and it gives you an Arastra very quickly in game. It also would give you the Mole and a Prospector and all that.
And I think the argument would be that if you do have a couple friends that jump on that Orion to help you, you could easily earn ships for them too quickly.
Exactly.
You
right.
know?
And it's we're talking about real world dollars versus I buy an Arastra and then I waste my time in game to get up to the Orion. And no matter how you math that out,
Yeah.
your time is, put it this way, if you've got to do 100 hours to go from an Arastra to an Orion, I don't know about you, Grim, but I can make more money than that in the real world. That's my whole point, right? So it's time versus money. And no matter how you work that out, it's just, unless you really want that grind, you're better to buy the Orion and go down.
And here's the thing, because I see a conversation going back and forth in chat right now. Here's the thing to remember. There are people like Execute who feel, and I agree with this too, that feel that it's smarter to take that route where you sort of earn down. But remember, there's people out there too. There's plenty of players out there that are like, no, I want to start with literally the starter ship and earn my way. And there's absolutely can do that. I mean, 100% play the game how you want. What we're doing here is just sort of giving, as someone who, as people sometimes who look at things from a very kind of holistic level, it probably makes more financial sense to earn down.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, it's financial sense in the black and white.
Yeah,
I don't know how to put that.
But that definitely doesn't mean that you subjectively have to agree with that or you have to play like that. Obviously, you can play
absolutely. We, as me and Agrid say, we even break our own rules, right? Yeah. So it's stating facts, right? It's stating hard, cold facts, and you can't stuff with facts because facts are facts, right? Yeah. So it's based on hold card, facts. But you can do whatever you want, right? It's just, this is what you know, the recommended, this is the baseline. You modify it any way you want. There'll be people out there that own an Arastra and an Orion. That's fine. I've got no problem with that. It's not my money. But when I'm sitting here and I've got to give generalized advice, how do you give the same advice to there's one person to 10? You know, you can't.
And on the other hand too, there's going to be people who have no interest in the big gameplay scale stuff. They'll want to do the solo stuff, and that's totally fine. Meathead Militia says they teased an alien capital ship at the end of their video. Do you think players will be able to purchase it? You're probably talking about the Vandal Mauler, which was teased in one of the most recent videos. No, I don't think we're going to be able to buy that. I think that's CitizenCon. I think that's just going to be a ship we fight in an instanced situation. So
it's basically a Vandal Kraken.
It's a boss fight.
Yeah.
Super Shoe says, do you think they'll have any surprise ships, or do you think every ship has leaked already?
The only one I'd say is Aegis.
Yeah, maybe Aegis.
And we'll see. Yeah. I'll believe when I see it, but I am doubtful at this point.
Yeah. Meathead Militia says, when do you think we'll see the Arastra IAE?
No. They've essentially...
well, he says, when do we think I think it's going to be like 3 years from now, personally.
So RSI Industrial is not one that they've tackled. In fact, I would say the first ship we're going to get is the Salvation.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, it's the the only. I think if you can look at that, I think you can start to see a bit of the threads of the Arastra.
I agree. Yeah.
And the Orion.
I just think that CIG is probably going to take a slight break on big RSI ships for a bit. That's just my speculation, by the way, everyone. I do not have any sort of information on that. That's just me speculating.
Let me throw this back at you then. Yeah. If we've got a Salvation in a small, and then you got the Arastra that's a large, and you've got the Orion that's a capital, technically speaking, there's probably 1 or 2 ships missing there. So we need like a medium, and so we need like an S3 and an S4. So we could probably see 2 more industrial RSI ships over the next while. And that would be a tip of the hat that the others are coming. Would you agree with that?
I think that would be a good clue that something's coming, yeah. Master Gun says, after the Aurora, think they'll do the Mustang or the Titan as the next starter gold pass? That's a great question. I have an opinion. I'd like to hear yours. I would say that I would like to see them. It would make more sense for them to do the Mustang because they're working on Consolidated Outland right now. But I actually think that the Avengers series is probably the smarter one to do the gold pass of next, just because it really is one of the most useful starters. But Execute, what's your thoughts on that?
why I would love them to do the Avenger. The Avenger is also in Squadron 42, so I would say no, they're not going to touch it. For the same reason that they haven't touched the Freelancer or the Connie series, but boy, does it need it.
Really does need it.
I also think that when a tip of the hat for that is probably when we see a normal starter for Aegis.
Yeah.
So one under the Avenger.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I am very eager for CIG to at some point get back to some Aegis work, specifically because, and I know Execute, you feel the exact same way about this particular ship. The Reclaimer is one that A, desperately needs its rework, and B, could that rework could have a real impact in the current gameplay that's going on. So.
Well, I've joked with you about this, but it would be really cool to see a starter ship called the Ant, because the only ship that's like the Reclaimer is like, the Reclaimer kind of lands like an ant. I thought it would be really cool to kind of take that tech in the Reclaimer and put it into a starter ship. I don't know what it would do. I haven't really kind of thought that far ahead. I just thought it'd be really cool to take that style and put it into a starter ship, kind of essentially bridge the gap between a Reclaimer and some of the other ships. And like, for example, imagine if you took the Reclaimer and it somehow had some kind of Reclaimer or halfway between a Reclaimer and a Redeemer engines on it. Because there's also a gap there as well. They need a ship that kind of explains the Redeemer's existence. It's really valuable from a lore perspective. I know it doesn't really need it, but it's definitely a nice to have. I know it would appease Paul or Astropub greatly, as it would Algrid and many other people.
All right, continuing on, everybody. We got just a little bit longer here, so we're going to do some rapid fires. Chief Tygun says, question, Apollo gameplay, would you rather have the drones or CIG create a medical/Atlas snub ship that a crew member can deploy and retrieve injured to the Apollo? I would say I would like the drones.
Drones.
I threw my 40 at you. Great question, by the way. I threw my 40 at you. Great name. Says, question, do you think the Paladin delivered? I can't answer that because I haven't done much with the Paladin, but Execute, do you think the Paladin delivered?
So this gentleman's name is actually Clever Ghost. Clever Ghost, the ship's not out yet. We haven't seen it, bro. Our biggest, I don't know, I'm just putting word in Grim's mouth here, but long story short, we're worried about how it looks. I'll leave it at that.
Wait a minute, are we talking? I'm talking about the Paladin.
Oh, you said the Paladin. Oh,
yeah, sorry, the Paladin.
Sorry, I thought you said Perseus.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied.
Paladin 100% delivered. I actually did a ship tour for someone at CIG, personal ship tour for someone at CIG the other day because they wanted to see what I thought of it, and he ended up applying his upgrade. So
nice. Nathan Forster says, I love the raft. Do you think we'll see something like the super raft? The raft is so much better for loading and unloading. I do want to move up to a bigger ship. I don't know about the super raft, but I think the next ship you'll want to look at if you're looking at that type of loading would be something like the Hull B. That's going to be that next step up. It has that external loading, so I think it's going to be easy to load, hopefully. Would you agree with that, Execute?
Yep, would be cool to see a bigger Argo ship, though. I think it's definitely on the cards at some point.
My Thosaron says, follow up to Mac's question, what would you like to see as a Drake fleet support ship that pairs with the Kraken? Would you like to see a Drakeified Perseus, a Drake Crucible, maybe a Drake sloop that has Legionnaire style boarding mechanics? Yeah, look, this is an easy answer for me. I'm a massive Drake fan. It doesn't mean I like every Drake ship. I'm not a big fan of the Herald. I'm not a big fan of the Caterpillar. Well, actually, I do like the Herald. I'm not a big fan of the Caterpillar, and I don't like the Drake Mule. But in general, I like Drake's vibe. So I personally would love to see any new Drake ships. That's why I'm excited for the Clipper. So
something to dovetail with the support, though, of the Kraken is a tough one. I keep just thinking of the Nautilus, but then maybe another mine layer or something like that. A refinery ship would go really well because you can land all the little salvages and the prospectors and stuff on it and salvage all their shit. There's a couple options there. But as I said, the real space that's missing at the moment is an S5, a Polaris sized ship. So something industrial would be cool though. I kind of really have fallen in love with the industrial stuff with Drake, just like you have.
Refining seems like the most obvious safe bet is, I guess, what I would say. Mihai
Yep.
Militia says, do you think Death of a Spaceman is still coming to SC? And if so, do you think it's healthy for the game? I do think it's still coming to Star Citizen. We've got small parts and pieces of it. I do think I would rather get in games sooner rather than later, though, so that they can start seeing what works and what doesn't work with the overall concept of it, though. And possibly build ships around the idea of Death of a Spaceman a little better. Chief Tygon says, question, Grim, Apollo gameplay, would you... Okay, we answered that one. Cam Wright says, question, Grim and XQ, why do you think they didn't start work on the Liberator for Pyro? And how much of a rework do you think the concept will have? Well, to me, that's just a subjective sort of question, because maybe the Liberator wasn't needed for Pyro. I mean, I was one of those people saying before Pyro came out, I said the Nautilus is the perfect Pyro ship. Why isn't it in development? You know, it just, who knows?
They changed the jump point stuff. That's why.
They
the
did.
Jump
They
points
did.
were meant to be different sizes, and when they changed it to all be the same size, and they added the transient jump points, and then they made it so all this, like every ship had a jump drive.
Yeah.
There was clearly a massive change, and they needed the Liberator change. And it's not the only ship we've seen this happen to. The Raft was clearly a sky crane that was made to load and unload like the whole sea, and now it's like a utility truck essentially. It's a flatbed truck.
Yeah.
And it's changed. There's all this geometry on top. You can see where it was meant to be a sky crane. I'll be honest with you, if they want to make that raft as cool as they can make it so it still expands and it just carries even more cargo. So you can actually dynamically change how much cargo it carries. That would be mad.
Yeah.
Anyway, engine.
Couple more questions here. Cody Fox says, wouldn't it make a big scandal if they sold the battle cruiser as a blueprint with ship concept sales? At least you get a ship when it's ready, but if they sell you a blueprint, they're really just selling you the opportunity to get it. So, Execute, you can obviously answer this. I would say that yes, I as interesting as selling blueprints sound, there's a part of the idea that I don't like, because it's almost yet another gut punch in terms of like, hey, you bought the opportunity to work your ass off to build this ship. So it seems a little dodgy.
I just come back to, I think Disco was given an example of selling concepts, and I think he really misspoke, because again, what they said about the Javelin and like I said about people that buy the Javelin are the target demographic, and they'd be pissed. I would be pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be very pissed, so pissed that I wouldn't want to buy one.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, and in some countries that's grounds for a refund, and you don't want to piss people off because they'll do refunds.
Sagenis21 says, question, what is the largest alien what is the largest alien ship outside the BMM you think we could get? A military ship the size of a Polaris would be fun.
We've talked about them doing expansion packs in the future. So, you know, once they've done Squadron 42, they could move on to the Zion or the Banu or the Vandal possibly. And knowing there are alien races behind the alien races, well, why is that? Because then when they do their expansion pack, they can tell you a little bit about them. And then eventually, if the game gets big enough, they go right round and do them as an expansion pack.
Yeah, I agreed. I still think that a alien mine layer would be really cool, personally. But yeah.
Well, and what I mean by when they do the expansion pack, they would fill out the ships for that.
They fill out those ships.
So you'd see a lot. You'd see a lot of Zion ships come out. You know all these different cargo ships, their hospital ship, all that type of stuff. And they also talked about being able to play as that race. Yeah. So think about right now we're playing as humans with human ships. Does that literally double the size of the game when they bring out the Zion expansion pack?
Right.
Who knows?
You get that. They'd probably come out with like a bunch of like Xeon, whatever decor items. It'd be, you know, all themed. So, okay, on to the next one here. We don't have too many more here for today's episode, but got a few more. Hudson Hawk says, Grim, how do you envision a sustainable... Okay, we answered that one. Here's what I will say about that, though, to go on to that question, Hudson Hawk, about the economy. I 100% do think CIG needs to bring in some sort of marketplace, like ongoing marketplace, sort of like the WoW auction house. They've never talked about it, but I really hope they do at some point. I really, really hope they do. I do think we need that. Moving on, Kinjin NZ says, what are your thoughts on the F8 becoming available for everyone and no longer being a collector's item, making it less prestigious? I'm happy that it's going on sale, personally.
You don't?
I do. I'm glad it's going on sale. I'm glad that the people that did own it and get it the hard way are getting a pretty cool skin. But I think it had its kind of window of exclusivity, I'm okay with it
Yep.
going wider now. I don't know what you think.
Yeah. If you're ever worried about exclusivity, I've been lied to more than almost anyone else ever has. I brought the banner merch, man, on the first day that was available on the 26th of November in 2013. And it's been sold 100 times since.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. It would have been earnable in game anyway. It
Yeah.
really doesn't matter. All you're paying for is to essentially get it earlier than
Yeah.
waiting it was
Yeah.
available in game.
So
You're looking at it the wrong way.
yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. It's all these ships are going to be earnable in game through grind. So everything is going to get less prestigious in terms of ownership, but it's still going to be prestigious in terms of what you're going to have to do to get it. So it's still going to have its
True.
value there. So, you know,
you're skipping the rep grind essentially.
yeah. 3D Imagination says, question: with engineering on the way and the need for a crew to pilot large ships, do you think this will affect the sale of large ships at this IAE? Personally, no. I think people love big, giant spaceships.
No, I think people want to play with other people, and yes, there are a lot of people that want to play solo.
Yeah,
but even that, I know people that are solo that still understand the economic viability of buying the bigger one because it just works out so much cheaper. And the example Algot always gives, it's 16 vultures to get to the same cargo capacity as a reclaimer, but it's only the cost of 2.5 to get to a reclaimer. So do the math.
I would say this to some degree. I'm hearing more and more, and I do talk to a lot of people that play this game. There's still a lot of people that are excited for engineering and have been, and that say sort of the opposite thing, where like, man, this is what I've been waiting for. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of people that don't like it either. You know, I get it.
Think of it this way, right? And I'm one of the few people that actually interviewed Chris, right? And back in the day, he literally said an Aurora will stay the same price. He's talking about in-game prices, by the way, right? Aurora will stay the same. A Constellation will probably be 5 times what it is worth, and then a Javelin or an Idris will be 10 times as much. So what he's implying is they had to bring the prices down so a solo person could still buy them, but really that's a ship designed for an org.
Yeah.
Right. And if you kind of like, they're never going to sell the Javelin for $30,000, are they?
No.
Right. It's just no one's going to buy it for that. Right. So they had to lower it down so people would still buy it so they could fund the game. But then in game, when it comes in game, it's going to be equivalent to $30,000 worth of time to earn. Right. So when you start to think of it like that, that's the other reason why when you look at an Orion versus an Arastra, the Orion is the better investment. Because you're not going to grind to get something that's... I don't think people are ready. They're just not ready for how much they're going to have to grind to get to these capital ships.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're ready.
Yeah.
And we've said it for years and years and years, and people keep forgetting that. Right now, you're living in a bubble, so a single person can buy a capital ship, but they're designed for orgs. And the Pioneer is a really good example. When that Pioneer comes out and it's actually got base building on it, and people see the scale difference between like the build and the Pioneer.
Yeah.
They're not gonna like. That's gonna be the first real example. We've got the Reclaimer, but it's salvage is not fully functional yet.
Yeah.
Right. So and they literally say when they talked about the Vulture was quality and the Reclaimer was quantity.
Yeah.
Right. So you're talking about pure volume. Same thing with the Orion. This thing's eating entire asteroids.
Yeah.
And the Arastra's just mining up the surface.
I have it up on my screen right now. I mean, it's an order of magnitude different between the Starlancer build, or what will be the build size, and the Pioneer. You're really talking two different stratospheres of gameplay going on here.
That's a great thing about your Hanglink, man. Like, we're so used to looking at these JPEGs, and JPEGs all look the same size.
Yeah.
So it gives you this illusion that they're all the same size. They're not.
Yeah. I mean, again, going over to the BMM here with the Liberator. I mean, look how crazy this thing is, you know?
In what world can that Starlancer even compare with the Pioneer?
Yeah.
Like, they're completely in different and it's the same with the Orion and the Prospector. If you open the Orion and the Prospector, the Prospector's not even equal to one saddlebag on the Orion.
Yeah.
Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a whole different level of... And this is why I say that not everyone is going to want to play at those insane levels of gameplay. Some people are going to be very happy to stick and doing what, like, here's the Orion Prospector size difference here. Couple more here, though. SoulsDX says, everyone wants to own a Kraken, probably just because of multi-role. But do you expect more light carriers from other companies? Would love to see one from Anvil just to buy. Yeah, I think we'll see more carriers. Yeah, that's what the Liberator is.
Liberator is a light carrier.
Yep.
They're both listed as light carriers.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, most carriers are going to be bigger things like the Bengal and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very possible too. We could see some more commercial carriers, like carriers that are marketed different than like combat carriers and stuff like that. So, for example, maybe Crusader releases their Jupiter carrier or something. You know.
Yep.
Alternaut says, "What do you think of turning the Perseus into a white star in terms of weapons and flight characteristics?"
What's a white star?
I'm not sure. Does that mean like North Star, like in terms of it being a kind of like a reference point?
It's probably some ship from an anime or something. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. What's it called? White Star. I'll look it up for you. Well, you do the next question if you want.
Yeah. Mostly Beef says, how do you think aggression mechanics will work with the Nautilus? How fun will it be to lay 50 mines at a jump point? I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. What I will say is that I think it's going to have a system that can either target any entity or target hostile entities, and those will be the sort of the two states it can be in. So not overly complicated.
It's almost an Idris looking ship from Babylon 5 is what I'd say. It's almost like a backwards flying Idris.
Okay.
And it's was a class of advanced warship maintained by the Ashlok, utilizing Membari Band and Vorit technology. So it's like half alien, half whatever.
Interesting.
Combat ship. But in regards to the question, what was the question about it?
The question was, what do you think of turning the Perseus into the White Star in terms of weapons and flight characteristics? So obviously, I don't know much about the White Star.
I don't know the weapon. Yeah, I don't know the weapons on it. I have to look up the weapons. Hang on.
Sorry about that, Ultranaut. I had another question here.
Sorry.
Idiocracy 2025. Go ahead.
It's a beam. There's a quantum discharge beam.
So
it's a beam variant of the Perseus, I think is what he's trying to say, with fusion cannons and neutron cannons.
I think we're all excited to see more beam weapons just across the board. That's something I can say. Idiocracy 2025, by the way, Idiocracy, one of my favorite movies of all time, including my wife's favorite movie probably of all time. Question, do you think selling blueprints will make this game pay to win? With crafting being the progression of the game, I see that as a dangerous pay to win territory. Personally, my opinion, and this is obviously everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I totally see your point, Idiocracy. My opinion on this is they're already selling some of the largest money makers in the game. I don't know how much selling blueprints is going to upset that, because there's sort of already a pay to win thing happening. What I would say though is I do agree with you that there needs to be a balance, and CIG does need to proceed carefully in terms of what is sold on the store versus what is earned in game. I do agree that's a very sensitive thing. I do not think that blueprints in mass should be banned from the store, though. I still think there's smaller blueprint items, or maybe blueprints that are related to things that don't give you an edge. For example, if you get a blueprint to build like a cool couch in your house, those are, you know what I mean?
Cosmetic only.
Cosmetic
is what you're trying to say.
Exactly, cosmetic only. Thank you.
Yeah. To be honest, there's already the things that concern me more, and we've already seen things like this already, is the price of ships that the marketing team sell things at, and then people complain because the ship they brought that's more expensive in the real world is actually cheaper in game because the design team actually hadn't envisioned it that way.
Yeah.
So when marketing overrides design, that pisses me off. And I'll give you the example. The Prowler, right? When the Prowler came out, it was $440 now.
Yeah.
And the Hoplite was $235. But in game, the Prowler was cheaper than the Hoplite.
Right. Right.
And they actually changed it in game because people complained. So that's what I'm more worried about, is when marketing, and I've seen it in other games, and it's ended horribly, like really badly, because
it can go bad really quickly.
The ship's not meant to do that, and all of a sudden it's costing more than it should, because and then people don't buy it in game because it doesn't do what it's meant to do.
Yeah,
for that price.
Real quick here, Final question for today. I do know some people asked some questions, and I will be streaming tomorrow. By the way, we'll be doing a pre-IAE show where it'll be much like this. So make sure to tune in. That I promise I will get through all the questions.
You want to have
tomorrow.
me back after today? After today, you already want to have me back? Okay, right.
Also, just gave a stretch. Appreciate it.
Right.
Let's hit this other question, then a few announcements real quick here. Hefe Momo says, question, can we have other Banu ships before the Banu Merchantman? 100% think we will. I think when if the Banu Merchantman goes into development, like John Crew said, maybe could happen at the back half of next year, I think you will see, while the Banu Merchantman is being developed, you're going to see some smaller Banu, like medium, maybe even a large Banu ship come out because of it. Again, take a look at this here on my screen, and you can see just how big the Banu Merchantman was at last concept pass at 239 meters. Remember, everybody, that's essentially Idris size. That's significant.
They're leaving money on the table if they don't.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be quite honest with you, with them being, you know, kind of the merchant people or the traders, I think is the word I would use, traders.
Yeah.
Knowing how many shop ships that they're going to have to make, like once you bring in tech levels and stuff like that, it's really obvious. Like, again, look at most ships, when you look at them, right, they're based on size. So you got like a capital, a large, a medium, a small, and you know, S1 through 6 essentially, right?
Yeah.
When you look at shop ships, though, look at the Banu Merchantman with what is it, 10? Is it 8 or 10 shops? And the privateers only got 2 more. Yeah, they're too close to each other. Like, they're so close, and one's luxury, and one's like essentially a taco truck, like low quality and high quality.
Yeah.
So by having those quality variants, you're going to have a lot more. And I reckon when you get down to the bottom, you're probably going to literally have 3 different tech levels that all have one shop.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually wouldn't surprise me if the privateer gets upgraded and gets an additional store or two, to be quite honest with you.
Agreed.
Real quick, thank you for that. Hydrate Falcon Games. Okay, a couple of little announcements here, everybody. I want you to all take a look at my schedule. Remember, this is my planned schedule. We have the IAE pre-show tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Again, that time may vary. I'll update you if it does, but it would be essentially like this, where we talk about Q&A. I'm going to have a little bit better understanding of the giveaways throughout IAE for that on that, though, and I'll be able to tell you all about it. RSI Day on the 20th, that's going to be a big, long stream, over 4 hours. You'll get a chance to get your Twitch drops. Yes, we are doing the Twitch drops on this channel like probably most people will. Again, you're going to get this special armor for it. It comes with a backpack. But so, yes, we are doing the Twitch drops. We'll do the one-of-one Perseus poster giveaway that you see here. And then we'll probably be giving away an RSI Salvation in addition to the Perseus ongoing giveaway that ends on December 2nd. Okay, so get in on that if you haven't already. I know. Execute, do you want to tell everybody about y'all's coverage, the Info Runners coverage through the event?
I'm not really got some promotion. We're going to be doing stuff every day, pretty much like game. I am thinking about streaming specifically on the first day and just going right through. So we'll do the RSI day. I'll probably do a Perseus Buyer's Guide, a Salvation Buyer's Guide, but I'll do behind the scenes as well. So you'll get to see me use Photoshop and make the thumbnails and all that type of shit, and go right through into where Paul then will kind of take over, and I'll probably raid Paul, and he'll do his story. And he goes around he does the ship tour, like he goes around the hall and he actually talks about all the ships and stuff like that. So and I'll probably tag along as well, but the main reason we want to do that is just so people can get their drops, because we heard a lot of people saying that they didn't want to have to go into Twitch to watch people that they don't watch. So,
for sure. That's how I'm going to handle it. Alternate, yes, I will update the poster to have the latest Perseus art. Also, I did shout out on Twitch side of things, everybody. I did shout out InfoRunner's channel. Make sure you go over to their channel and give them a follow if you haven't already done that. So yeah, it's exciting. This week is an exciting time. It's really a celebration of ships. So it's right up me and Execute's alley. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Last but not least,
the best time to modify your fleet and kind of get exactly what you want to, and especially if you're bringing a new person in the game.
Yes,
you know, some of those packages like the Ox and the Salvation,
which
even if you've got a friend that you know that's interested, look at maybe picking one up and just gifting it to them.
By the way, it's great you said that. I will go ahead and tell everyone too that finally I'm releasing the STARJUMP new player guide series within the next day or so, right in time for IAE. Last thing I wanted to point out on the schedule, though, is on December 2nd, we're going to be doing another long stream. It's going to be probably 4 or 5 hours that day. Again, enough for you to get your drops. It's going to be our big Perseus giveaway stream. We'll do that live. There'll probably be a few other little things we give away that day too. It's kind of an off day. It's not technically the end of IAE, so there may be some people available to jump on that stream with us, maybe Execute, maybe some other people, and we'll just kind of talk about our feelings about things that were discussed and talk about and all that kind of stuff. Again, make sure you follow that Gleam link that's right up in chat to get in on the Perseus giveaway, or scan the QR code. Really appreciate it. Unfortunately, because I have to make money for a living, I do have to work. So we're going to be raiding someone here, and I'm going to raid someone who does have a lot of people right now in their channel. But the reason I'm raiding them, not only are they a nice person, but I'm raiding them because even though I have not been streaming on any of their days, they were actually trying to alter their stream schedule so they could raid me to help me get to partner. Again, just a genuinely nice dude, and I enjoy talking with him. We're going to raid Citizen Spooner. Make sure you give him some StarJump love if you haven't already. Execute. Thanks for hanging out with me today, buddy. We had a pretty successful stream. People like hearing me and you talk about ships, apparently.
I think they like to you talk. They like to growl at me. But yeah, close enough.
Everyone, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for showing out. Again, be here tomorrow. I'll be doing the pre-IAE stream, and then later this week, the start of IAE. Everybody, sending you over to Citizen Spooner here in about 8 seconds. Do something kind for a stranger. Thank you for all the donations via the coffee link and all that support. It will help me get set up and ready with that new GPO. Have a good day, everyone. Salute to you. Appreciate it.
See you, citizens. Bye-bye.